Hello and a warm welcome to Sharachandra IAS Academy, where your dreams are our mission. This is Yatharth here. Today, in this video, we'll be dealing with topics of polity, both the current affairs as well as the static portion behind the current affair. Okay, the current affair will be about the climate justice, and the static portion should be about the fundamental rights, the DPSP, as well as the fundamental duties. How to easily remember them. So let's go about the lecture. First of all, we'll see what we are going to cover in here. So the first thing is the current portion, that is the GIB case, that is Great Indian Bustard case, and the Supreme Court's recent ruling. Then we'll see what is the citizens' right to be free from the adverse effect of climate change, and how does this connect to the fundamental rights, both Article 21 as well as Article 14. Secondly, we'll see what are fundamental rights and what is the easiest way to remember them for the exam. We'll also see what are fundamental duties as well as the DPSP, how they correlate to the fundamental rights, what are the differences, and what is important for us in the static portion. Alright. Lastly, we'll see what are the types of questions that can be asked, not PYQs, but just a perspective. So let us figure out what is in the news. Why is this topic in the news? So Supreme Court recently has ruled that people have a right to be free from the adverse effect of the climate change. So we all know there are two things. There is weather and there is climate. So climate is a long-term phenomenon. Climate is a long-term phenomenon of what is happening with the weather at Earth in the long term. Now, this climate change basically involved with the emission of the greenhouse gases, all right, like CO2 and various different emissions, all right, multiple greenhouse gases, whether it is CH4 or anything, has multiple effects on the environment around us, whether it is air, it is water, it is land, or anything. And all of these consist the environment that humans live in, both the humans as well as any sort of other wildlife or the flora and fauna. So while the original case that came in front of Supreme Court consisted the matter about the GIB, that is Great Indian Bustard, the Supreme Court also ruled that humans also, or any general citizen, also have a right to be free from the adverse effect of the climate change in view of the DPSP, the fundamental duties of citizens, and the fundamental rights. And in this specifically, they talked about Article 21 as well as Article 14. All right, the right to life and the right to equality before law. Okay, so this is why this matter is in the news. So this judgment was delivered on March 21st, very recently, in the case relating to conservation of critically endangered bird, the Great Indian Bustard. Okay, there is also two different varieties of this bird or the bustard species. There is also a lesser floricon. Okay, this is also critically endangered. This is also critically endangered. So when we are talking about the GIB, it is one of the tall land moving bird, but it also does fly. But it cannot fly to a lot of height. Alright, this is its habitat. It was majorly earlier found in an extending habitat near the Rajasthan, Gujarat, Maharashtra region. It's also found in various different places in Andhra Pradesh. We'll be talking about them, the wildlife sanctuary. It is also the state bird of Rajasthan. It is also the state bird of Rajasthan. So this the GIB conservation was the matter in front of the Supreme Court. All right. So this is a bird that is facing conservation issues, and only 150 of them has been left in the outside wildlife. Okay, some of them are conserved in vivo, in vitro, etc. But it is facing major threats. All right. So Great Indian Bustard, we all know. One of the thing is its scientific name. Scientific name is because of this black color hair band you see. Its scientific name is Artidiotis nigriceps. Artidiotis nigriceps. Nigriceps because of its black neck. This black neck band. Alright, it is often found in the males only. So it is found in the dry grasslands. It is found in the dry grasslands and scrublands. So this is the same place where renewable energy is making an upturn, such as the wind energy plus the solar energy. Okay, so it has become a matter of this versus this, the habitat of the GIB as well as renewable energy. All right, because of what? Multiple threats. One is the habitat loss. So this is the habitat loss we are talking about. Second thing is the collision with the power lines. So habitat loss we see here that the dry grasslands and scrublands are being converted into agricultural land, infrastructural land. All right, development and livestock used for the utility of livestock. Second thing is collision with the power line. So power line is at height of let's say 20-30 feet from the ground. Okay, so this is also the height at which the GIB flies. So what it does, it collides with the power lines, get electrocuted and dies. All right. So what we see third thing is the hunting. Hunting is via the people living in the habitat for its meat. So these are the things which altogether is harming its conservation efforts. So now we'll be talking about the conservation efforts. So first of all, you see the Desert National Park here. It's located in Rajasthan. All right, the next one you see is Rolapadu. Rolapadu Wildlife Sanctuary. So it is located in the Andhra Pradesh, in the Nandyal district. And there was also a program, the Great Indian Bustard Conservation Program, launched in 2013 by Rajasthan government. So because of this, Rajasthan became the first state to initiate GIB project. All right, so these are some things that have been worked upon relating to the conservation of the GIB. Two more things we'll see later. That one are the reflective barriers of bird diverters. Okay, so these do not have much more function, an electric sort of function. They just work on the basis of light reflection, so that GIB can see these power lines. Okay, and help itself from getting electrocuted. Okay, now let us talk about the what was the case before the Supreme Court. So this is a very famous conservationist, M.K. Ranjit Singh Jhala. All right, from Rajasthan. So he submitted a petition in the Supreme Court relating to the conservation of GIB, the Great Indian Bustard, as well as the Lesser Floricon. So both of these are critically endangered. Both of these are critically endangered. So approx, if we see 100 to 150 members of these species are out in the wild, living in the wild. All right, so these have to be conserved a lot, and this is why a petition was filed. Now, what was the petition against? That the government, especially the central government, wanted to develop the power lines. Okay, in approx 99,000 square kilometer area, which overlapped with the GIB habitat, which overlapped with the GIB habitat, and the overhead power lines were being laid. So Supreme Court initially or earlier stopped these, put an embargo on these, and wanted the government to put the power lines underground. All right, underground. So center had said that this is not possible and it's against what our objective is related to the renewable energy. So the petition said that an emergency response plan for protection and recovery of GIB should be formulated with installation of the bird diverters. You can see here bird diverters. Their basic function is to reflect the light. All right, let's say this is the power line, this is the sun. So light is coming from here and it goes into GIB size when he is flying. Okay, and it can see that power line is there. So this is the function of the bird diverter. And embargo means to stop. On the sanction of new projects and renewable leases of existing projects and dismantling power lines, wind turbines and solar panel in and around the critical habitats. Okay, not completely, but in and around the critical habitats. So these are the overhead power lines you can see, and these are the underground ones. So underground, not a threat to the GIB, but it's very expensive and very high power voltage lines cannot be laid underground. This is the issue between the government and the Supreme Court. All right, so what happened here? The Ministry of MOEFCC basically, and which is Environment, Forest and Climate Change, and Ministry of New and Renewable Energy. New and Renewable Energy. So they filled the application that this cannot happen. Okay, we cannot lay the lines underground because such high voltage power lines cannot be laid underground, and some issues were there. So they said that Supreme Court should reconsider its stoppage on the power line thing. All right, now what Supreme Court finally said, that just make a committee of experts, make a committee of experts, and we'll see what can happen further. So this is the case in the view. And now what we see here is that this is inconclusive. All right, this is specifically inconclusive. What we must see here, that what Supreme Court also ruled out about the basic citizen as well as normal wildlife, that how it comes under the purview of Article 21 and 14. So referring to the environment related aspects of the DPSP, that is Directive Principle of the State Policy, DPSP, the court said that these have to be read together with the right of life and personal liberty under Article 21 as well as Article 14. Okay, so DPSP are not rights, let's say, neither the fundamental duties are, okay, they are not justiciable in the court. So, how to make them justiciable? All right, how can a citizen seek its rights based on the DPSP and FD? So, they can, if we read DPSP and FD in the light of fundamental rights, which are justiciable in court. All right, so let's talk about these. So, these three, the Article 14, 19, and 21, are the main articles of the Constitution. Part 3. Alright, so Article 14, let us see, provides for equality before the law or equal protection of the laws within the territory of India. So basically, right to equality. Equality before the law. Then there is Article 19, protection of rights related to freedom of speech, expression, assembly, association, movement, and so on. So this is right to freedom. Okay, to do things basically. And Article 21 encompasses everything that gives us the right to life. All right. So further, if we expand the right to life, then right to life includes many things. In the 1980s, the Supreme Court read the right to clean environment as a part of Article 21. Okay, a bundle of rights. So it includes the right to education, right to medical care, right to food, right to livelihood, right to privacy, healthy environment, education, shelter. Everything is included in right to life. So how now right to life has been expanded by giving it the right against the adverse effect of climate change, or basically a right to a great environment, a protected environment, plus adverse effect via the climate change. Okay, now what happens if we add this suddenly in the list of fundamental rights? Does it change everything and anything under the globe? No. All right, so how does it help the common citizen? Okay, so we'll see this. So new addition in the fundamental rights. How does it help the common citizen? So first, it nudges the parliament to take note of these issues. That means cognizance. So it produces a cognizance. that something is happening, that something wrong is happening, that is impacting the life or the right to a good life of a common citizen. All right, and the court must protect against this. Secondly, by making constitutional courts as an avenue, that means there should be a place that if a citizen is feeling that something is wrong and it is impacting my right to life, then where should I go? So he should go to the court, because court has now recognized that this should be included in the fundamental right or a right against anything. All right, a right to life, or it goes against the article 21 or article 14. All right, so these are the two ways which by which the new addition in fundamental right protects a citizen. So now what has been added? The right against adverse effect of climate change, because the Supreme Court noted that despite many regulations and policies, there is no one single legislation relating to the climate change and such concerns. All right, so what we are desiring here, a single legislation, okay, which can completely protect anything and everything happening, which produces the climate change and protects the humans, okay, against the adverse effect made by the climate change. All right. Now let us see what is the importance of Article 21 and 14 here specifically. Specifically. So Article 21 recognizes the right to life and personal liberty, while Article 14, as I told you already, that it says that all persons have equality before the law and the equal protection of laws. So these come under the Article 21. What? Right to a clean environment, because it ensures a good quality of life. All right. Impact of climate change. That means if the climate change is having an impact on the life of people in a certain region, they have some right against it. And right to health. So it comes completely under the Article 21, that is right to life. Okay. Furthermore, inability of the undeserved communities to adapt to climate change or cope with its effects. That comes under Article 14. Article 14 means, let's say we are making a law. So everybody is equal in front of law. And if everybody is equal, we must take care of everybody. The law should be for everyone equally. All right. So even for the undeserving community, even for the, let's say, poor people or the people who do not have the resources to cope up with the climate change, the law should take care of them also. Not only those which have the ability. Let's say that it's very, very hot. All right. It's 48 degrees Celsius. So what we are thinking, we'll just go inside home, all right, and turn on our coolers or AC. So we have the resources to do so, but not everybody. Okay, somebody is still out there, okay, toiling for work, and these people also have the right to get protection with this effect of the climate change. All right, so they must also be taken care of by the law. So this is why these rights have to be enacted. So now we'll be talking about the fundamental duties and the DPSP. All right. So Article 48A tells us that state shall endeavor. So here two things are important. First thing is state. State means whatever government is there, whatever is making the policies as well as law, the executive, all right, the parliament. So this is the state. And they are talking that it shall. So they are not talking about the will or must. Okay, so state shall endeavor. Endeavor mean it will do things. It should do things to protect and improve the environment and to safeguard the forest and wildlife of the country. That means it is the duty of the state. All right. And when we talk about the Article 51A, the subclause G, it says that it shall be the duty of every citizen of India in response to what the state is doing. Okay. State is doing its own endeavors. Now, citizens should also take the duty to protect and improve the natural environment, including forest, lakes, rivers, and wildlife, and to have compassion for living creatures. So, it puts the duty on both state plus the citizens with the aim that collectively they will be protecting the complete environment. So now with this step, the Supreme Court has taken the, let's say, step from the state side, that we'll make a law such and such that will expand the gamut of the right to life. Okay. Now talking about the fundamental rights. This basically we'll be dealing in the next lecture, but let's have a quick summary of the fundamental rights. So there are six major rights or the category of rights. One is the equality, right to freedom against exploitation, right to religious freedom, the cultural and education rights, and right to constitutional remedies. Okay, various writs, etc. We'll be seeing. So let us just see quickly what is the way to remember them quickly. Okay, so right to equality. E for equality. Right to freedom. Right versus exploitation. R means the freedom to religion. C means the cultural rights. And R means the right towards remedies. So how we can remember? EFER, effercer. Okay, this word just remember. Furthermore, we see very quickly 14th Article 14 mean right to equality. This is a short summary. We will be reading in the detail later on. Prohibition of discrimination. Okay, 16 mean equality of opportunity in public employment. This talking only about the public employment, not private. 17 means abolition of untouchability of any sort and abolition of any titles. All right. 19, when we come from 19, so freedom. Okay, this is right to equality, all 14 to 18. Then 19 to 22 is right to freedom. So protection of certain rights, freedom of speech, etc. Respect of conviction of offensive, protection. Protection of life and personal liberty, that is 21, that is the most talked about. And right to education in 21A, very recently added. 22, protection against arrest and detention, personal liberty. Okay. Then 23 and 24 are prohibition of traffic in human beings and forced labor and forced employment of children in the factories, etc. So this is right against exploitation. Furthermore, we see the religious rights such as freedom of religion, manage religious affairs, payment of taxes, etc. And lastly, we saw the protection of interest of minorities. That means minority and cultural rights. Okay, to establish an administrative educational institution. This was also in the news recently in the UP. Okay, related to the madrasa issue. 31 is repealed, that is right to property, now not considered a fundamental right. And Article 32 is remedies for enforcement of rights. So basically, multiple writs as well as constitutional rights are there. So we'll be reading about them in the next lecture. For this lecture, this is where we stop. Thank you very much. This is Yatharth here signing off. Have a great day ahead. See you soon.